I'd like to begin this webinar by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands on which we meet today, and I'd like to pay my respects to elders past and present. My name is Ashley, and I'll be your host for this webinar on behalf of the College of Law at the Australian National University. I'm joined by our LLM Program Director, Dr. Philippa Ryan, and our Manager of the College's Student Services Team, Nicole King. This webinar today is being recorded for internal purposes and will be in contact with those of you in attendance should there be a need to make this recording public. Your video cameras and microphones are automatically off and muted so as to avoid any disruptions during the formal part of this presentation. However, you may use the chat provided to type any questions or comments that you may have during the presentation. I'll start off by providing a very brief introduction to the study programs and activities on offer to our students at ANU Law, as there are some of you who are unfamiliar with our offerings today. I'll then pass you over to Dr. Pip Ryan, who will take you through an interactive masterclass to experience studying our courses firsthand. And then we have allocated time at the end of the session for any questions you may have. And we'll also provide information for contacting us should you prefer to engage in a more personal level. So at the ANU College of Law, our research priorities reflect the legal, regulatory, and governance challenges facing Australia, the Asia-Pacific region, and the world. With many academic staff recognized as leaders in their fields, ANU College of Law has an enviable research profile, holding particular expertise in international law, constitutional and administrative law, climate and environmental law, law and technology, as well as migration law, governance, and national security. Our academic staff are frequently called on by parliamentary committees, peak bodies, professional associations, and the media for their expert analysis, advice, and guidance on the law, and what might be done to improve it. Many of our experts are also award-winning teachers who are always accessible and work closely with you to ensure you successfully complete your studies. ANU College of Law is ranked consistently in the top 20 globally for the study of law, ranking 15th in the world on the latest QS rankings. Here's the full range of our current programs, starting with our Bachelor of Laws Honors Program. So the ANU LLB Honors is an acknowledged world-class undergraduate degree. With honors built in from the start of the degree, the ANU LLB Honors places an emphasis on developing versatile skills in independent research, analysis, and critical thinking, and providing you with a competitive edge on graduation and a solid foundation for postgrad study. Through the degree, you'll gain in-depth knowledge about the role and function of law and develop advanced understanding about how law influences and impacts almost every aspect of our world. As an LLB student, you'll study a range of compulsory courses in foundational areas such as public law, criminal law, contracts, evidence, and litigation, and have the opportunity to choose from a rich selection of electives across topics such as international law, environmental law, and human rights. You can take your LLB honors as a single degree, or you can combine it with one of over 35 other disciplines as part of a flexible double degree. This gives you the opportunity to tailor your studies to suit your specific interests and your passions and your career goals. Studying a flexible double degree doesn't mean double the workload of a single degree. Instead, a double degree brings together courses from 2 degrees to create one single program of study, and it only adds another year to the time you spend at university. So instead of 4 years, it would be 5 years full-time. So moving on to our postgraduate programs, we have our Juris Doctor program. This program is ideal for those who have completed a bachelor's degree in another discipline or are seeking to change or advance their career and are seeking to be admitted as a legal practitioner in Australia and some other jurisdictions. As a 3-year degree, the ANU JD offers you the flexibility to fit your studies around your professional and personal commitments. So courses are taught in a range of delivery modes throughout the degree program, including on-campus, intensive, evening, and online. Some on-campus elective and compulsory courses are also taught in the non-semester teaching periods. So this is during our summer and our winter sessions. And this is to allow you to tailor your program to reduce the time needed to complete it. The Graduate Certificate of Law is a short 6-month program and is ideal for those who have completed a bachelor's degree in another discipline and wish to develop their knowledge of Australian and international legal systems and how laws are created, interpreted, and applied. offering students the flexibility to study courses from a range of topics in law, including information technology, aviation and space, environment and climate, cyber warfare, international security, and human rights. This grad cert also offers a pathway into our Master of Laws program for graduates from non-cognate disciplines. This takes us to the Master of Laws. It's open to both law and non-law graduates. It's a one-year program, which is ideal for those looking to deepen their knowledge in a specific area of law, or those who are planning to enter a new area of practice, and for those who a knowledge of law would be beneficial in their career. So this includes public policy professionals, regulators, and managers. LLM students have the option of specializing in international law, private and commercial law, or public law. Similar to the Master of Laws, we have a new 2-year double degree called the Master of International Law and Diplomacy. In an age of changing realities, there is a high demand for graduates capable of navigating the challenges that shape our international society. This joint degree is taught by internationally recognized scholars from both ANU Law and the ANU Asia Pacific College of Diplomacy. You'll also learn from senior diplomatic and international legal practitioners with a specific focus on transnational diplomacy, roles of non-state actors, negotiation and conflict resolution, and international law principles. And of course, we then have higher degree research programs available, so the Master of Philosophy and the Doctor of Philosophy programs for those wishing to enter research and academic careers in law. At ANU Law, we're always refreshing our programs and coursework to align with and respond to contemporary politics, as well as legal issues and trends. Some of our newest courses include artificial intelligence, law and society, health law, bioethics and human rights, #MeToo in the law, cyber warfare law, climate law, nuclear security law, and even international air and space law. For 4 years in a row, Canberra's been ranked in the top 25 student cities globally. It's consistently named as one of the most livable cities in the world. And in 2018, it was listed by Lonely Planet as the 3rd best city in the world to visit. Canberra offers a different university and cultural experience to other Australian cities. It's also incredibly easy to get around. The city has the shortest commute times of any major Australian city and a nearly open light rail network. As a student of Australia's National Law School, you'll benefit from a range of real-world learning opportunities that are unique to studying law in the nation's capital, the city where federal laws and policies are made. Our proximity to High Court of Australia, Commonwealth courts, and federal agencies offers unparalleled access to legal practitioners, members of the judiciary, and government policymakers, many of whom are ANU Law alumni and who teach and lecture into our programs. So for example, we have a federal jurisdiction course taught by a former High Court Chief Justice. We have a JD Masterclass run by a current High Court Justice, a retired UK Air Commodore who teaches cyber warfare law, and courses on evidence, litigation, and dispute management taught by practicing barristers. As an ANU Law student, you'll benefit from a supportive and student-focused environment and a teaching approach that allows you to see law in action. For those of you who are international students, ANU Law provides a tailored orientation session at the beginning of your studies, and with the option to join our semester-long international student program, which offers excursions and field trips across Canberra with tours of Parliament House, the High Court, and various museums, as well as tailored sessions to support international students' needs. For the coming semester, we are working on ways that we can adapt this program for online due to COVID and travel restrictions for many of our students. During your ANU Law degree, you'll be presented with numerous opportunities to put your legal knowledge into action and gain practical experience through a range of internships, clinical placements, student competitions, and these are spanning not only in Australia, but in Asia, UK, Europe, and the United States. So for those of you entering our LLB or JD programs, here's a list of some of the clinical courses, the current clinical courses offered as part of your studies. Many of them are locally based in the ACT or New South Wales, while others are offered in Western Australia, the Northern Territory, and there's one abroad in Myanmar. That's our Myanmar Law Clinic there. Many AMU students have the opportunity to study overseas on exchange or via short courses as part of their degrees. Our students who are undertaking a double degree, say law and IR or diplomacy or commerce, have a range of opportunities available to them across the university and in their other programs. But here's a list of recent ANU law courses and exchange opportunities overseas. So we have a special opportunity for LLB and JD students to take a course in Alabama in the USA. For LLB, JD, and LLM students, you can study in international law in Geneva. We have for LLB, JD, and LLM students, you can learn about Japanese law in Kyoto with joint curriculum offered with Ritz-Macon University. There's a special opportunity for Juris Doctor students to undertake some of their studies in Oxford. This program allows you to complete the equivalent of 2.5 years of study at ANU and to then undertake 1 year study at Oxford. So you'd graduate after 3.5 years with both the ANU JD and the Bachelor in Civil Law at Oxford. And then finally, as I mentioned, we have an offshore clinical course for LLB and JD students to travel to Yangon to undertake community research projects there. Of course, due to travel restrictions, we are unable to offer these courses in the coming semester or for summer 2021, but we are working to be able to deliver these in the later half of 2021 if possible. High-profile internships are available within a variety of organizations, government agencies and non-government organizations in Australia, Asia and the Pacific, the US, the United Kingdom, and parts of Europe. This includes the following: the Commonwealth Attorney General's Department, which is a 10-week internship. 5 weeks are spent in the Office of Constitutional Law and 5 weeks in the Office of General Counsel and the Australian Government Solicitors. This is located in Canberra. And this is supported by the Leslie Zines Constitutional Law Scholarship. Then we have the ANU Law World Bank internship, which offers a current ANU Juris Doctor student the opportunity to undertake a 6-month work placement in the Integrity Vice Presidency's Special Litigation Unit. Sorry, it's a long thing to say. Integrity Vice Presidency's Special Litigation Unit in Washington. And this is supported by the Froelich World Bank Scholarship. We have a rare opportunity for one student to undertake a legal internship at the International Bar Association in London. The aim of the internship is to provide realistic, high-level, and varied legal work experience through a supervised internship. This is also supported by a scholarship and by the ANU London Legal alumni community. The International Court of Justice traineeship offers a final year student or a recent graduate of ANU Law the opportunity to undertake a 9-month traineeship, working as an associate to a judge of the International Court of Justice in The Hague, Netherlands. This is supported by a Yule scholarship. The Permanent Court of Arbitration Fellowship offers a final year student or recent graduate of ANU Law the opportunity to undertake a 12-month fellowship, working as an associate to a judge of the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague, Netherlands. This is supported by the Froelich Scholarship. And our Asia Law Internships program includes small travel grants to allow students to undertake internships in a range of law settings, including arbitration, litigation, commercial and corporate law. And recent placement hosts include Herbert Smith Freehills in Singapore and Clifford Chance in Shanghai and Beijing. Again, many of these opportunities will be affected by COVID travel restrictions, but we are working to ensure that they are available to our students as soon as possible and where we feasibly can. Other practical learning opportunities include mooting, mock trials, hackathon competitions, extracurricular programs and societies, and co-authoring case notes and research papers with our academic staff. The aim of mooting and mock trials is to develop professional skills in written oral advocacy. And more importantly, these competitions foster teamwork, collaboration, and the application of both substantive and procedural law in a practice authentic context. And if any of you have further questions about these particular activities, we can talk about them later on. When you graduate from one of our programs, you join a prestigious global alumni network of over 21,000 professionals in Australia and around the globe, some of whom you'll meet as guest lecturers in your classes, mentoring programs, and student-focused career activities, and as internship or work experience hosts. We're always working on new initiatives for our current students with our alumni and to interact and learn from each other. Our alumni have achieved excellence in Australia and around the world, not just in the area of law, but in international business, diplomacy, politics, public policy, humanitarian aid, banking, and finance. ANU Law graduates can be found working as, that's my dog, sorry, as judges on the benches of courts throughout the country, partners in national and global firms, barristers, the head of community legal services and legal aid bodies, human rights commissioners, and as policy advisors in government. My dog's joining me, sorry about that. He's quite cute though. I'll now hand you over to our director of the LLM program, Dr. Pip Ryan. Dr. Ryan is a barrister and a senior lecturer at ANU Law. She is a member of the Treasury Audit Committee, and in her role on the Standards Australia Blockchain Technical Committee, she is the lead author of the International Standards for Smart Contracts. Pip is a non-executive director on the board of Australian law firm Launder and Rogers. I don't know if I pronounced it right. Sorry, you can tell me if I did, Pip. And she is on the editorial board of Stanford's Journal of Blockchain Law and Policy. So I'll start my sharing here. And I will invite Pip to share her screen.
Thank you, Ashley. That was a very nice intro. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this is my job, is not only to answer some questions later, but we thought it would be really good fun if we just welcome you to the LLM. This is a freebie, by the way. You don't have to pay for this little course you're going to have, but I'm going to introduce you to one of the subjects I teach. I teach actually in the LLB, JD, grad certificate, and LLM. And one of my subjects is called Digital Economies and the Law. And so what I thought I would do is introduce you to a pet favorite topic of mine, which is the relationship between contracts and blockchain technology or smart contracts. And then we'll have a quiz. So you need to focus because, I mean, I'd love to say there's chocolate, but actually there's just fame and glory. You're going to enjoy this enormously. So I'm going to share my screen, do a presentation, which is really authentically similar to the way that you would actually study this subject if you were in my class. Now, I'm just going to check with Ashley first. Ashley, are you looking at a PowerPoint presentation that says from carbolic smoke ball to blockchain?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. Okay, otherwise you're seeing a photo of my cat or something like that. Okay, so in digital economies and the law, which is the subject that I'm convening in the master's program, but will probably be delivered, this sort of topic would find its way into one of my core subjects as well. We need to ask ourselves, what is the relationship between the traditional contract that is the foundation of a very important stream of smart contracts. So this topic is called From Carbolic Smoke Ball to Blockchain, Contracts, Strange and Smart. So this is a true story. This is all about the use of a device known as a carbolic smoke ball in the 1890s by a woman who used it and then fell very ill and wanted to sue the manufacturer because they'd promised it would work. So this is a classic contracts case. What is the carbolic smoke ball? So this is it. This is a picture of a carbolic smoke ball. I think that's made of a ceramic, and then it's got a ceramic black bit on the top. And the idea is that there's a product inside. You would put it on top of your wood stove, and then when you've added the water and it starts to create a fume or a gas, you would inhale it. And the promise that was made by the carbolic smoke ball company was that it would prevent you from getting influenza. So it would prevent you from getting the flu. Now, the reason why this was important at the time, and this is interesting because it's a pandemic story, is that in the late 1880s, there was a terrible pandemic that swept through Europe, an influenza that killed many, many people. Now, we know that in 1919 or 1918, a terrible pandemic broke out that actually originated in France, but is known as the Spanish flu, and killed many, many people all over the world. But prior to that, there had been other pandemics, and there was no vaccine for this. And remember, this is before the invention of a lot of very simple drugs that could, for example, bring your fever down if you're quite unwell, or even the invention of a ventilator. So it's the end of the 1880s. Mrs. Carlisle's in England. The pandemic is sweeping through Europe. It's found its way into London, and everybody is absolutely terrified that they're going to die. Quite rightly, because a lot of people did die. So here she is. This is a photograph of Mrs. Carlisle. I believe she's leaving court here. And what happened was she bought the smoke ball. Now, she bought it because of this advertisement, and this is the start of the contract. This advertisement was posted in a newspaper. In fact, it was posted in a number of newspapers at the time. But here's one in 1891. The Pall Mall Gazette, November 13, and it says that there is a £100 reward. Now, this is an enormous amount of money in the 1890s in London. £100 reward if you buy this carbolic smoke ball, use it as instructed, and still get the flu. If you fall sick, the carbolic smoke ball company is so certain that the smoke ball will work that they're going to give you £100 if you fall ill. Now, a lot of you will see in the middle of the screen, it actually says £200. Well, the reason why there's a £200 reward there is because the smoke ball company decided to increase the reward. They had actually been advertising it for quite a while, and they decided to increase the reward from £100 to £200 to generate more interest in buying the carbolic smoke ball. So the question that arises legally in this particular scenario is, was the reward of the £100, an offer to enter into a contract? Now, this is really important because when we think about contracts, we ask ourselves, are you making an offer that this will definitely work, and if it doesn't, we will give you a reward? Or is it mere puffery? And this was the question that came before the courts. So before we move on to what the court decided, let's ask ourselves, what is mere puffery? Puffery is the language or the words that are used by advertising companies or perhaps politicians when they want you to believe them and they want you to trust something that they have on offer. They want you to think that there's something special they have. But puffery in particular, it is argued, should not really be believed. So, for example, if Donald Trump gets up and says on stage, I am the best president in the United States, this is puffery because there's no empirical evidence, there's no proof. It could be true, maybe he is the best, but the best against which standard, the best at what? It's puffery. Here are some other examples. Coca-Cola can't beat the real thing. Well, this begs the question, what is the real thing? And if you can't actually explain that or define it, then you know this is mere puffery. Now, this is important because you couldn't sue Coca-Cola in court in relation to this claim that you can't beat the real thing, because the courts would say, no. Coca-Cola does not intend for you to read this and to think that there's any legal effect, or to think that it's anything more than just trying to get you to buy a Coca-Cola. They're not really promising that there is such a thing as a real thing or that it can't be beaten. Here's another example. This is Viceroy cigarettes. So this is a filtered cigarette being advertised apparently by a dentist. Now, they don't tell you who the dentist is. They don't even use a real dentist. This is just a drawing of a dentist. And apparently your dentist would recommend that you smoke this particular cigarette because it has a filter. In other words, your teeth won't get as yellow. Again, really, is the dentist going to recommend that you smoke Viceroys, or are they just saying, if you absolutely have to smoke a cigarette, perhaps you could do it with the filter? They've twisted around the effect of that and turned it into, you should smoke these cigarettes your dentist recommends that you do. Again, you can't sue on this because the courts would say it's mere puffery. One more. Cocaine. This is from 1885, mind you. This isn't from anywhere I know currently. And this is an advertisement for some toothache drops. Now, I would argue anything that's going to kill you as quickly as cocaine will also cure your toothache. I mean, but let's be honest, that's not what they're trying to say. They're not trying to say we're going to kill you and your tooth will no longer ache. They're trying to say, if you've got a bad toothache, suck on our cocaine drops. It will numb the pain. Yes, you will become addicted and have many other problems, but your tooth won't ache anymore. Again, puffery. So, what did the court decide? Now, this is in relation to the carbolic smoke ball and Mrs. Carlile buying the little device, using it as instructed, and yet she fell ill with the influenza. One who used the smoke ball and who nevertheless fell ill was not mere puffery. And the court said that this is not mere puffery, the advertisement that you could get the £100, because in fact, it's an offer to enter into a contract. So let's take a step back. Let's hover over this for a second. We'll come back to Mrs. Carlile and the smoke ball and the Court of Appeal. But so a contract has three essential elements. Offer and accepts. The thing gets done for money, in exchange for money. The money is the consideration. This is actually a really interesting phenomenon, because no matter where you are in the world, it seems that these elements, whatever they're called, are actually pretty universal in most developed economies. In my blockchain work, we did a study in 2017 before we started working on the specifications for smart contracts, asking ourselves, are there some common themes around contract? And we found actually that there are 7, and these 3 are fundamental. Other things would be the intention to enter into a legal contract. Seems to be pretty universal. It's also universal that the person you want to bind, who you want to make obliged to fulfill the contract, has to be over a certain age, sound mind and body, not drunk at the time. These are universal. It's very interesting when we think about global contract making, which is what I think about in blockchain world. Moving on. What does this have to do with blockchain? Well, it gets more interesting. Let's ask ourselves, first of all, what is a blockchain? Well, it's a distributed ledger technology, which means a bit like sharing music on LimeWire or Kazaa, or even sending emails to each other. It's not an intermediated process in the same way that traditional banking is, for example. We're talking about everybody being able to just shoot messages to each other directly without somebody in the middle checking them, curating, managing, where there's a distribution of the control over the technology. So even though there's a central platform and it has to be designed by someone, it's still distributed out. And the actual record of what everybody's been doing can be seen by every single person who's decided to actually participate on that network. Blockchain technology solves a thing called the double spend problem. I'll come to that in a minute. Blockchain technology enables crypto assets to be invested in or cryptocurrencies to be exchanged. And it also supports the use of smart contracts. So this is my beautiful image that I grabbed from the internet of the distribution of the technology. I love this idea that you can share things, you can buy things, transactions, but all done peer-to-peer with everyone on that blockchain. Think about, for example, the Bitcoin blockchain, which is the biggest blockchain in the world, the biggest public permissionless blockchain in the world. All these people conducting their activity peer-to-peer, not waiting for an intermediary like your bank or your Amazon or PayPal or eBay to manage the process or to permit the process. This is everybody having a record of exactly what's going on and managing the transactions themselves. Now, I promised you a bit on the double spend problem. It's worth looking up, but basically up until about 2008, There was no way to solve the problem that if you digitize money and you share it over the internet, it's very difficult to manage that money needs to be unique. Every single note that we use all over the world is anti-counterfeit. They've got unique identifiers. They're difficult to copy. When you've got a file that represents a value, like a Bitcoin, that's really easy to copy. What blockchain does is turns every one of those files into a unique record. So you can actually track it and trace it, and the system can work out which seller is going to actually have their transaction accepted in a certain order, depending on a confirmation or whether a miner has been able to actually verify the transaction. I won't go any further into that, but smart contracts. So a smart contract is programmable application that enables a transaction that can then be verified, and it automatically executes it. In a really, really simple sense, what it says is one party wants to sell some Bitcoin, the other party wants to buy it and is willing to pay money for it. And the system, the smart contract, checks that both sides of the transaction can occur, and then it does the handshake to actually make the exchange happen. Very clever. Now, a lot of people complain about the term smart contract. I was in a meeting about 3 years ago where about 60 experts from all over the world argued for about 2 hours about the terminology and whether we could think of a better one. And we all decided, let's just call them smart contracts, because we couldn't come up with something better that everybody agreed with, but we all understood what we were talking about when we used the term smart contract. So this is a picture of a vending machine. A vending machine is a very simple analog smart contract. The vending machine stands there at the railway station or the airport or perhaps at your university, and it offers to the whole world a drink, packet of chips, chocolate, and all you have to do is if you put the money in or use your credit card, it then dispenses it. It doesn't ask for any more information other than, I'm offering you something. If you put the money in, I will deliver. It's a smart contract at its best. Of course, the smart contracts I'm talking about in blockchain world exist in cyberspace and on the internet. You can deliver things that are physical, but the actual financial transaction all occurs online. Let's just think about what makes a smart contract so clever and why I get so excited about it. What I love is that if the vending machine is programmed, or if the smart contract is programmed only to deliver the thing that's being purchased under certain conditions, then it becomes very clever. For example, it might only dispense hot chocolate if it's snowing. And so what you would then need is a data set, or what's known as an oracle, that can be agreed upon by everybody as the source of truth as to whether or not it's snowing. This is quite important when we think about contracts that depend upon the exchange rate with another currency, or whether a certain event has occurred in relation to another transaction, for example. These oracles are very, very important, but the data sets are becoming easier and easier to create thanks to the internet and sharing devices and the way that we all gather data. So let's go back to the carbolic smoke ball. The carbolic smoke ball company is like the vending machine. It was making the offer to the whole world. It says, anyone in the world, if you buy this smoke ball and it doesn't work, we'll give you £100. Although Louisa Carlile followed the carbolic smoke ball company's instructions closely, she still contracted influenza. She attempted to claim the £100 reward from the company, and after the company ignored 3 letters of request, she initiated legal action. She claimed that the carbolic smoke ball had breached a contract it had entered into in its advertisement. The Court of Appeal held unanimously in favour of Louisa. Bravo, well done. And it concluded that a binding contract existed for the following reasons. The reward was an offer to the world, the advertisement induced customers to buy smoke balls, and the company's claim that $1,000 had been deposited into a bank in London as surety suggested that the offer of a reward was legitimate and binding, and therefore not puffery. What the court was saying was that an offer of contract can be unilateral, so you don't have to have both parties. You don't need Louisa right at the start saying, when I buy this smoke ball, I want to know that the £100 is on offer. She bought the smoke ball in expectation that if it didn't work, she could call upon the offer being made in that advertisement. Acceptance doesn't require any particular notification other than the letter to say, I'm sick from influenza and I used the smoke ball and I have my money, please. So she met the condition by buying the smoke ball and doing as was required. And therefore, she had done her bit in relation to accepting the offer and the payment of consideration. This legitimised the contract and she was able to claim. Now, this is all very interesting for smart contracts. This all becomes very, very interesting because we want to know whether smart contracts are legally enforceable. What I want to do now, though, is conduct a quiz to see how you all went. So what we're going to do is everybody who's listening to this, including our wonderful colleagues from ANU, are very welcome to join this. We've got 19 participants, including me. So we probably need 18 people to be able to play this game. Now let me just check, we've got some chat and I want to make sure it's not an issue with my system. Brilliant. So going to the chat, there is a link to a platform called Kahoot.it. For those of you who have not used playing the game, so click on this link or type in the link into your browser. If you're using a phone, an iPad, or some other device, you need to be able to see the screen that I'm sharing in order to see the quiz questions. But go to your iPhone or your smartphone, open your browser and type in https://kahoot.it or search it. So Ash has very kindly typed it in. You can just click on it on your device and you need to open it up. But remember, you need to be able to see my questions as well. Then what's going to happen is once you've gone into that location, you've gone into it on your browser, it's going to say to you, could you please enter the game pin? I'm about to give you the game pin. And then after that, it'll ask you to enter your name. You can enter a nickname or your initials or your first name. And once we've done that, we'll then be able to play the quiz game. I will give you one more set of instructions as to how to play in 1 minute. I just need to switch screens. In fact, I think I need to stop sharing. I think we've discovered you need to stop sharing first and then find my other screen to go to the quiz. Okay, so I'm going to ask Ashley to do me a favor. Ashley, can you see a screen that has teach, assign in green on a screen for choose a way to play this Kahoot?
Choose a way to play this Kahoot. Yes, I do see that.
And then you can see the green buttons for teach and assign.
Yes.
Can you see my mouse? I'm going to go to teach. So everybody on your devices, you need now to type in the following number. We're going to play classic Kahoot, which is you all play as individuals. And you're going to see a game pin come up any second now. There it is. And the number is 851998. You need to type that in as the game pin, and then it'll ask you to enter your name. We're hoping to see about 18 names if we can get everyone to play. Ikram, well done. There should be a prize for being the first one in. Well done, Ash, Nicole, Lexi, Shani. This is terrific. We've got 5 players so far. I'll have a quick look at the chat and make sure everyone can see it. I mean, the fact that you guys have been able to get in, but I need to make sure you can actually see the screen. So chat, if you're having any issues, I can see SB is in, which is terrific. Hi, that's great. We've got 7 people are in, which is amazing. Now, if you don't have a second device on you and you can't play, don't worry, because you can actually watch the whole game play out, which is incredibly cool. So we'll start now. So if you don't have that second device and you can't play, just keep watching because you'll see the game unfold. But this is what I do in my class with my students. We do a bit of content, we have the lecture, and then we have the Kahoot. And what I've been doing during COVID with my students is because we're teaching 100% online, I actually give them some content that's pre-recorded, like a podcast, something to read. And then I set a time when we're all going to get together and we'll meet up, do a Kahoot, and then we'll have a conversation about the content that we've all been studying together. Nina, thank you for joining us. Okay, so we're going to start. Now, there are 8 questions, and the way you answer the question on your device is to press the color on your device. You need to tap on the screen, the corresponding color for the question. So this one is, what sort of pandemic swept through Europe in 1889? Press red if it's plague, blue if it's typhoid, yellow if it's measles, green if it's influenza. You have 5 more seconds. 6 answers. Well done. Okay, brilliant. Now this is interesting. At this moment, you need to know, I can pause here. And if anybody in my class ever says to me, Pip, I don't understand, why is that the right answer? Then we have a little conversation about it. We can have a chat. You need to know, I'm now going to show you who answered the fastest. Let's have a look. Because the top 5 are going to be shown here on the screen. Well done, Ikram. Now you can see Ikram's got 873 points. You get a possible 1,000 points for every single question. You get points for being correct. Well done, Ikram. You get points for being first to answer. Again, well done, Ikram. Lexi, you're just after, which is great. Thirdly, you get points for winning more points. This is important because you'll start to slow down. Okay, next question. True or false? The carbolic smoke ball promised to prevent influenza. Is that true or false? If it's true, blue. If it's false, red. And you can see that counter, the little purple circle, that's telling you how long you've got to answer the question. It's 20 seconds per question. Brutal. Well done. It's true. Yes, it promised to cure influenza. Ikram is still winning. Well done. You're obviously very quick, which is amazing. Next question. Question 3 of the 8 questions. The Carbolic Smokeball Company argued that the £100 reward was mere what? Puffery, promise, permission, or poetry? Well done. Puffery is correct. You guys are fantastic. Nicole, you're on a winning streak. You've got to stay calm, Nicole. This is really good. There's points to be had. Okay, Lexi, you are doing very well. This is really cool. Question 4. 3 essential elements of a contract are offer acceptance delivery, offer acceptance consideration, offer refusal consideration, none of these. Which one is correct? Well done. Yes, offer acceptance consideration. You guys are fantastic. That's amazing. Lexi, you are literally on fire. Well done. Question 5. What had Mrs. Carlile accepted? The reward, the smoke ball, the flu, or all of the above? Something was offered to her. What did she accept? What offer? The reward, the smoke ball, the flu, or all of these? The reward is correct. Now, this is interesting. Okay. The person who said all of the above, the 2 of you who said all of the above, yes, that's sort of funny. But in terms of the law and the law of contract, she accepted the reward. She had accepted, and that's what was then owed. Now, this is interesting because when I see an answer where only one person's correct out of a group of very smart people, then I know either my question is stupid or I didn't explain it well enough. And in a lecture, I would now pause and go over this again, knowing that actually I've got it wrong, because otherwise the majority of you would get it right. Okay, so that's really important learning for me. It's really useful. Good feedback. Okay, next question, number 6. Smart contracts automate execution of contract. True or false? Excellent, well done. It is true. Lexi, you're still on top. Ash, you are nipping at Lexi's heels. You're very good. Okay, here we go. Number 7, there's only 2 to go. Blockchain is a type of distributed ledger technology or disinterested ledger technology. And I hope you're all enjoying my images that I've chosen for each of these questions. Amazing. Well done, everybody. Yes, distributed ledger technology. Now, if I'm in a class with my students and 100% get a question right, as you have, I donate $40 to a family in need by buying a piglet and donating it through World Vision. And so which charity they want me to donate the money to. But on this occasion, this would be called a $40 moment. And we buy a piglet and donate it on behalf of the class. Lexi, you are on fire, and there's 1 question to go, so stay calm. Here we go. 8 out of 8. Bitcoin may be an investment product or a currency. True or false? Can it be an investment product or a currency? Another way of saying an investment product is an asset. Can it be both, or is it just one? You've done it again. Oh my God. I'm so glad I didn't promise to donate anything. I would be broke by now. Well done, everybody. That was amazing. Okay, let's see who won the whole competition. This is the podium at the end. Yes, Nina, 3rd place. Well done with 6 out of 8. Ash with 7 out of 8. That's got to be Lexi. Well done. Amazing. You got 8 out of 8. That's really good. Well done. And Nicole and Ikram, runners up. Thank you so much. Well done, guys. That was amazing.